Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. We are in Atlanta at the Culture Collision Show. I'm kind of just setting this up impromptu in the hotel room, so apologies. Lighting is a little bit weird. I'm kind of like dark side of the sun or whatever. Dark side of the moon? Not dark side of the sun, the dark side of the moon. Anyway, the lighting is not great, you understand. So I'm just gonna kind of push through. We do not have a professional lighting team, sound team, production team, as you know if you watch my channel, but that's okay. We're still gonna give our thoughts here on the day one Culture Collision Show. So just kind of my takeaways, my initial takeaways from day one. It is Friday here today. The show started at 1 p.m. and really steady all day. It was busy. I wouldn't say that it was mega busy. So it wasn't as if, there was like, shoulder to shoulder type deal going on. Not yet. There was still some people setting up. And so, but there was a lot of good stuff out there, a lot of good stuff. The one thing I liked about the show is you have a blend of stuff that's here. You've got graded comic books, raw comic books. You've got sneakers, which is interesting because I don't know anything about sneakers, and I'm looking at all these like Yeezys and stuff and just trying to figure out what the heck I'm looking at. But you've got sports cards, non-sports cards. You've got kind of the alternate sports, the UFCs and the F1 type stuff. I will say there are a lot of, I would say from an age standpoint, a lot of younger dealers, whereas if I'm just kind of comparing to the national, you have a lot of dealers that have been going for years and years and a lot more vintage cards at the national than from what I've seen at like the Dallas show or at this show, or even kind of my local show, the Raleigh show, etc. I did get to meet some viewership, which was really fun. People that, we've been commenting back and forth on videos for going on. We're almost 2 years into this thing, guys. March 22nd was my first video going back 2 years in 2020. So that's kind of wild to think about, but I met some viewers that have been watching for a while, and that was really, really fun. And then also other content creators. Of course, I met up with Flippin' Steve and Neo Cards and Comics, and got to see, other content creators as well. They had a basketball game going on. I'll be honest with you, I could have hung with those guys. I could hang with them playing that, the content creator basketball game or whatever they called that. I wasn't overly impressed. It was not to say that they were bad. They weren't. But it was also half court, so I could have ran half court. If it was full court, okay, maybe it would have been a little bit winded as a 40-year-old. But half court, I could have sucked it up. I could have done okay, even though I haven't been playing consistently. Anyway, it was fun to watch, and just something unique, something different. You don't normally see a basketball game in the middle of a convention center, for a card show. So I thought that was cool. Not a lot of vintage that I saw at day one, but I did happen upon one of the more unbelievable vintage showcases that I have ever seen, and I'll put pictures up. I asked them, I was like, can I take pictures of your showcases? Because I don't know if I'm ever going to see this again. A lot of amazing vintage baseball, and then as I kept going, there was also vintage basketball, vintage football, etc. And it was unreal. The stuff they had was incredible. So while there wasn't a lot of vintage that I saw, there was some really high quality vintage, and on the higher end too. A lot of ultra-modern basketball, especially being in Atlanta, I saw a lot of high-end Trae Young cards, a lot of Trae Young. I thought that was kind of interesting, but it wasn't a surprise. And I would say, the Hawks overall kind of having a little bit of a disappointing season, but the Trae Youngs were out in full force. And just ultra-modern basketball in general, not necessarily a lot of base stuff, but you did see a lot of the, the parallels and things like that. And also in football too, Justin Herbert and, a lot of the Joe Burrow and that sort of thing as well. I was actually talking to, a couple of people there, and it was, they were talking about just the football calendar in general, which is really true because everything's been pushed back. Prism football is now like end of April or something like that. And so you're going to literally have, off season for football, and then you're going to have the draft, or maybe it's beginning of April. Maybe it's beginning of April when Prism is set to come out for football. I'd have to double check it. But regardless, what we were talking about is just that there's no real downtime. The calendar is full. You've got kind of off season where there's going to be movement in the off season. There's going to be free agent pickups. There's going to be big signings, maybe trades. Then you've got the draft. And then all of a sudden you've got all the premier football products, the Trevor Lawrence Prisms and Select, Optic. all that stuff is going to start flooding out. And then that's leading into summer. And then all of a sudden we're in training camp and preseason. I'd be really interested to see what the football market looks like at the National. I think there's going to be a lot of excitement around it, whether it's warranted or not. I just think the football card market in general, and I'm not even talking about the vintage stuff, a lot of the stuff that I like to get, but more of just kind of these exciting young prospects. That's going to be really interesting. And a lot of it just has to do with where new product is falling in. So a good start to the show. I'm excited to get to day 2 tomorrow. We've got some plans tonight that I'm excited about as well. So we will see, and I will definitely recap day 2 as well. And then I'll also show kind of the pickups and some different things that I've been looking at the show. But guys, thank you very much for joining. Culture Collision is happening. Very, very cool show. I'm glad that we are here to experience it, and I will keep you updated. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you later.